Hello, my name is Cindy Shamides, and I am a senior at Florida State University in the Interdisciplinary Medical Sciences program and a member of the central team of the Israel Summit. It is an honor to introduce our next speaker, Senator Amy Klobuchar. Senator Klobuchar has been a lifetime friend of the State of Israel, first visiting Israel in 2005, and her visits since have reinforced her commitment to fighting for Israeli peace and security. She has been the senior U.S. Senator from Minnesota since 2007 and was a Democratic candidate for President of the United States in the 2020 election. Senator Klobuchar, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you, Cindy, for that kind introduction, and thank you to the entire student team who helped organize this year's Israel Summit. Hello to everyone joining, whether you're attending a watch party, tuning in from your dorm, or maybe trying to watch it from class. No, you wouldn't do that. So I am so glad to have the opportunity to speak with you today. In just 4 years, the Israel Summit has grown from a student-led program at Harvard University to one of the largest events of its kind, bringing together more than 10,000 students from hundreds of colleges in dozens of countries around the world. That says something about the incredible leadership behind the summit, as well as about just how many students are looking for new ways to learn about one of the United States' most enduring allies. The deep friendship between our nations is based on our shared democratic values, economic partnership, and our mutual strategic goals. You know, when I first ran for Senate, one of my first trips abroad was to Israel. I was overwhelmed by the warmth and spirit of the people who welcomed me at every turn. During this trip, I saw the character and resilience of the Israeli people, and it reinforced my commitment to strengthening the relationship between our two countries. My home state of Minnesota actually has some connections to Israel. First, my friend and mentor, former Vice President Mondale, a Minnesotan, played an incredibly important role in the Arab-Israeli peace negotiations at Camp David. We lost him this year, but in his life, he was a champion for Israel. At the beginning of the summer of 1978, we're going back in time right now, peace discussions had stalled. As vice president, he went to Israel, not only as a demonstration of friendship from the U.S., but as an advocate to restore the peace talks. His work during the trips and his discussions with Israeli officials, including former Prime Minister Begin, helped lay the groundwork for the successful talks. It led to the signing of a treaty the next year and set a precedent for future peace agreements in the Mideast. And another connection, just recently, my good friend and fellow Minnesotan Tom Nides was confirmed by the Senate to serve as U.S. Ambassador to Israel. When he was nominated for the position, I was amused to read the headline that ran in the Duluth News, where he was born in Duluth, which said simply this: "Man who grew up in Duluth nominated ambassador to Israel." Tom and I met as interns for Vice President Mondale, though believe it or not, the Vice President didn't have either of us running point on Mideast peace. Don't know why. Instead, I was assigned to do the furniture inventory and write down the serial number of every lamp and desk. And Tom got to save the Lake Superior foghorn for the city of Duluth. And for those of you who are looking at internships and things in Washington, despite my glamorous job of the furniture inventory, I always like to remind people who are interested in coming to Washington, do your job right, even if it's not the one you thought it was going to be. Why? That was my first government job in Washington, and this as U.S. Senator was my second. So my friend Tom has taken on leadership positions since then in the House of the U.S. Trade Representative, the State Department, and in the private sector. He's going to be a fantastic ambassador who will continue to build on the positive efforts to normalize relations between Israel and other countries in the region. Like Tom, I believe we must remain steadfast in our commitment to Israel's security, and that means continuing to fund critical measures like Iron Dome, which I've consistently supported. With dialogue, patience, and resolve, we can realize our ultimate goal of lasting peace throughout the region. I'd also like to talk about something that's a little different, we don't always focus on, because the alliance between the U.S. and Israel isn't just about security. Our economic partnership is also really important, both for businesses and workers in both of our countries. In 2019, the U.S. exported more than $14 billion worth of goods to Israel. And according to the most recent data, exports to Israel support an estimated 73,000 American jobs. We also look to Israel for life-saving medical innovations, advanced cybersecurity solutions, and cutting-edge agricultural technology. When I visited Israel, and I've been there since as well, I was blown away by the sustainable farming practices I saw. I guess it makes sense when your country is 60% desert, which, by the way, a lot of countries around the world have a similar makeup or even more desert. You have to get creative. Pioneering ideas like drip irrigation, a system designed to grow crops while minimizing water waste, help contribute to the country's agricultural success while also conserving water. In recent years, Israel has helped put those technologies to work all over the world, from deserts of Africa to the United States. As we, as a planet, continue to combat the climate crisis, we're going to continue to look to Israel for visionary technological solutions to some of our biggest problems. And as allies of Israel, and here's the last thing I want to talk about, because I see it every day, we must also stand up against anti-Semitism at every turn. A few years ago, a bomb threat in my state forced over 500 people at a Jewish community center in the suburbs of Minneapolis out of a place where they were supposed to feel safe. Just about a month later, the same thing happened in St. Paul. And a family in Minnesota had their house ransacked with racist graffiti and swastikas spray painted on the inside and outside. I spoke to that family, and it reinforced the fact that no one is immune to anti-Semitism, in the Jewish community, in the Muslim community, and the like. But the most amazing thing about the story of the people in the community center in the suburbs of Minneapolis was that they were forced out. Some people had been in the swimming pool when the bomb threat happened. They're walking around. And when they got back in, the very first call they got, the very first message on their machine, it was from the Islamic Center asking them if they needed a place to meet. In the spirit of today's summit, which has brought so many of you together, I want to end with a story to remind you of the importance of reaching out in today's crazy political culture. Kind of a fun one. It's about an ad that went viral when the Twin Cities hosted the Super Bowl in 2018. It wasn't a Vikings ad because sadly they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Actually, my dad was a sports writer, and we lost him this year too. But he once wrote a book in the early 80s called Will the Vikings Ever Win the Super Bowl? Because they'd been there 4 times and lost every time. And sadly, it is still relevant today. But in any case, on a happier note for those from Minnesota, we actually hosted the Super Bowl, at least. And leading into it, there was a nonprofit ad, an interfaith event that went viral, as I said. And it was one of our more popular rabbis in the Twin Cities throwing a football in the regular Viking stadium to an imam, and he caught it and he ran in for a touchdown. I think the message there was that reaching out is important, working together is important. Even while we stand our ground, we should always, always be looking to find common ground. That's what all of you are doing by attending the Israel Summit. Learning, meeting new people, reaching out, learning new things, like maybe you didn't know about all the incredible work going on climate change with sustainable agriculture and water conservation and the kind of technology we're getting out of Israel. That's a cool thing. So anyway, keep learning, and I look forward to seeing you all in person very soon. Thanks, everyone.